right, what's going on, everybody? Kevin here from Top Dog Advertising, and today I have another super exciting interview for you guys. So I have my client Aaliyah with us today from Next Level Pups, and so she was kind enough to come on here and just talk about her experience working with us at Top Dog Advertising and how it's been going thus far, the first couple of months in. So, Aaliyah, without further ado, why don't you just kind of introduce yourself, tell everybody who you are, and kind of how you got started as a dog trainer?
Yeah, of course. Well, like you said, my name is Aaliyah, and the name of my company is Next Level Pups Pet Training. I've been established in the area that I'm in for about the past 8 months or so. And the first 3 months or so, I wasn't working with Kevin. I'll go into more detail about all of that. But what got me started as a dog trainer is it's always been, always, since I was a kid, like a hyperfixation, a passion of mine, something I really loved. I was watching all the Animal Planet shows and going on YouTube and watching dog trainers. And then when Instagram became a thing, I was watching all the Instagram trainers and posting my dogs on Instagram. And at one point or another, I, caught the attention of like a local trainer. And I got my first opportunity to like do like an internship. And it's funny when that happened, I was actually working a remote job and where I had to go out to my internship was like 2 hours away. So I would use the hotspot on my cell phone and like be working on my laptop while I was driving to go there. But that eventually turned into a full-time job for
That's
me.
awesome.
Yeah, so that's how I got my foot in the door training
Mhm.
dogs, doing kennel tech work. I mean, I've done everything from the bottom to the top of it. You know what I mean? So I started off, all pet dog training. I'm working all slip leads out in California. I don't even think I touched a prong collar till I was like 2 years into my dog training career. So I started all slip leads, all treat training, ended up getting into like advanced sport training and protection work. And I've done like some bird dog work, like pointing and flushing and retrieving. I've done, some service dog work. At this point, I've done a little bit of everything. I've trialed all the way up to a national level in IGP3. At one point, I had a helper certification at a club level, so nothing crazy. But I mean, as far as dog training goes, like I've done all kinds of things. And I mean, it's been a passion for a long time. I spent a lot of my years learning the ins and outs of the industry, from everything from husbandry to, how to set up kenneling to staffing to SOPs to, the ins and outs of training and purchasing equipment and just, I mean, everything in between. I was managing a large scale
That's
facility
awesome.
for yeah, I was managing a large scale facility for about like almost 3 years, and they were wanting to like promote me, but the pay just wasn't, and they wanted me to teach my proprietary kind of, I don't want to say my method because dog training is dog training, but they wanted me to teach the way that I train to a bunch of student
Right.
trainers. It wasn't really something I didn't really want to do that. I decided to, go more independent, moved down here to Georgia, started my business. From December to March, first of all, I was charging like $1,800 for my 4-week board and train. $1,800 for 4-week board and train with equipment included just to get clients. So I think between December to when I started working with you, I got 6 clients.
Yep.
So that's 1,800 times 6. That's a little over 10 grand in like a 3.5 month period. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, which you
Right.
can't live off of 3K a month, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean you can, but it's not,
Yeah.
it wasn't enough for me to grow my business. I wasn't
Uh-huh.
getting enough leads in. Like it just wasn't enough. It was like barely scraping by.
Yes.
When I started with y'all, I was in a position, without getting too personal, I was in a position in my life where it was either gonna make it or break it. When I started with you, I had $1,650 in my bank account. That's it. That's all I had. And I think I might have told you
Yeah.
when we talked, that it's like Kevin, this has to work. I was like, what if Kevin, and what if it's been 30 days? And you're like, nah, Leah, don't worry about it. You're like, if it's been 30 days, you don't have leads coming in, then we didn't do our job. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I had faith in it. I think that
Yes. Yeah.
I had tried to work with two other marketing companies before, and they just didn't. One was way too expensive
Mhm.
and with like no return. Like the amount that I spent, I wasn't able to make that money. I wasn't able to make it back. It didn't make sense. And then the other one, it was very affordable, but it wasn't really doing anything for me. I'm not really sure what, I think they modified some SEO stuff in Google and it really wasn't doing anything for me. So I had seen you guys.
Mhm.
Actually, I know someone who uses you guys, Hunter. I think I told you about that. But I know
That's
at least
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I know at least
Yeah.
one person who's had a lot of success with y'all. And I was like, man, I see what other people are able to do with it. And I know I'm in a good area as far as the market. Like I live near a lot of like majorly populated, wealthier cities. I mean, I jumped the gun and I think I made my initial payment with you guys on February 11th. I started booking consults on March
Hmm.
1st because I wanted it like to make it, I wanted my books to be organized. So I started booking consults on March 1st. One of the first ones that I did, I booked. And I think just in March, I grossed like a little over $10,000 in sales just for March. And from March 1st
So your
to
first like
today,
actual 30-day period where you're running ads.
yes, I grossed over $10,000 in sales. It probably was a little bit more actually, probably closer to
Wow,
40.
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. And from March 1st to today, which is May 26th, so less than a 3-month period, like less than a 90-day period, I'll pull it up on Lead Connector because I only add the value for people that I close. So everyone else is like zeroed out so I can keep track of exactly how much like I've made from what's in here. But from March
Mhm.
1st to today, I've done $44,450 in gross sales.
Wow. So only a couple months in, and you've done close to $45,000 worth of sales.
Yes, sir.
That's unbelievable. Yeah. Wow. And so, yeah, I mean, talk to me about so it's funny. We started out this call and I was like, hey, it's good to see you. How was your weekend? And you're like, it was a good weekend. I think I did 4 consults on Friday and closed all 4 of them. So talk
Yeah.
about that. Cause I mean, that number of making $45,000 in like a 2 month period is incredible. But even just like, what you're doing now on like in some cases, like in a week or even in a 24-hour, a single day. So talk about what Friday looked like for you.
Yeah, Friday was a great day. I had 4 consultations. They were all like grouped up in the same area. So I had to drive about an hour to get to the area I was going. The first one was, I can look because, we forget. I know I had 2 little doodle puppies.
Yeah.
It was good. Yeah. So I had a husky hound mix that booked for a 4-week advanced. That was 3,500. I had a 4-month-old doodle that booked for a puppy program, which is 2,500. I recommended that they wait till the dog is 6 months though, because I want to e-collar train the dog. So they paid a deposit and they're just gonna wait till she's 6 months. I did a discounted 4-week for 2,300, and then I did another puppy program for 2,500. So when I add all that up, yeah, so it was like a $10,000 day.
Most people will never see $10,000 in a single month in their business. Some people, it takes them 90 days to make $10,000 in their business. And the fact that you're doing it in some cases in just like a single day is just really insane when you think about it, you know?
I mean, I really owe a lot of the credit, like, to you guys. Like, anytime that I reach out to like my client success person that like helps, like Angel, she's wonderful. She's always very responsive. Like, anytime I say like, can we adjust this or
Yeah.
that, she's so helpful. Our first initial couple of calls, the tips that she made me to make adjustments to how I do my phone calls and how I do my in person, that helped me close more sales. And like, you guys have been a big help I mean, I already had like a pretty strong skill set,
Good.
but what you guys do and have done for me and
Yeah.
continue to do, it's been, and then even having the CRM and being able to have automated responses and my calendar being there and like what you guys do, like I wouldn't have, I really wouldn't have been able to do it and maintain it without what you guys do for me. So
Wow, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to our client success team the other day, and I was just thanking them because I was saying to them, like, the secret sauce of what we do, like, I know we do a really good job with marketing here. I'm like I love marketing. I'm very analytical when it comes to all of our client accounts. I'm still heavily involved in all the client accounts and management and stuff like that. But, generating leads is one aspect, but everything else you're talking about of like, hey, raising your prices, learning, talking about having a real process on how to conduct phone conversations and how to
mhm.
have actual consultations and how those should go. That's the secret sauce that makes all of this work so well. And yeah, I mean, there's something I just want to go back to for a second here with Aaliyah because ever since I met you, your mentality has always been very much so. I'll just find a way to figure it out, and that's something that I just really admire about you. And I love one of the main reasons I love working with you is just like your ability to adapt and figure things out. And I just want to go back to something you were saying before about like you working another job and knowing that you wanted to start your own business and having to just kind of like make it happen and being like doing things on the road from a hotspot and stuff like that. Because so many people will just throw their hands up and just be like, I can't do it because of this, or, oh, I can't do it because it's too far away or something like that. When you and I first met each other, you were like, hey, I don't care. I'll take dogs all the way up in South Carolina or down in Augusta or Atlanta, it doesn't matter to me. You're like, I'll drive anywhere, I'll do whatever I need to do to make it happen. So I'd love to hear from you and just like your perspective on that and your just philosophy, because I think a lot of people could really benefit from hearing about that from you.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I don't really think I really have like a philosophy on it. It's something that it's how I live my life. I've always been kind of by myself, kind of independent. And whenever I wanted something to happen, I have to make it happen. Whether it's, personally, financially, in business, whether it's a relationship, networking, you're trying to like, pursue a connection with someone that you want to let them know like, hey, this is what I do, it's who I am. You have to be a go-getter. Like you have to take what you want and you have to try to take it until you get a hard no. And that's just like, I don't know if there's really a philosophy on it, but like I have a friend of mine that I talk to, and she's like, "I'm not gonna chase a sale," and I'm like, I will. I'll text you every other day until you tell me no. You know what I mean? Because until you close the door,
Yeah.
it's you can still wiggle
Hmm.
your way in there. So, like I said, I mean, honestly, there's been some delusion at play in it because there were like when I did my LLC and my business license and everything, I didn't even know if I was going to get approved for the house that I wanted, which I did. But I put that
Yeah.
address on all my applications before I even knew for sure that I was going to get approved for it. So it's a little bit of delusion, just being overly optimistic. Knowing how to reroute and navigate. I feel like it's just like being a dog trainer, like just like with the dogs. Like if one thing doesn't work, you gotta troubleshoot it. You can't get discouraged. You only fail when you quit. All the cliche things. When I first started with you, it was, I think,
Yeah.
like 3 weeks until I moved into my place down in the area where I'm in. And I was staying with a friend up in Atlanta, just very temporary. But all my consults, I was driving like 3 hours down to my consults and just to get stuff done. So there were days where I'd leave the house at 5 o'clock in the morning, load all the dogs up so I can walk them and, do what I got to do. I'm not getting back till 11 o'clock at night, midnight, because I'm driving from consult to consult and I got to drive, 3 to 4 hours back. So it's just, and that was like the first few weeks of me
Yeah.
working with y'all and everything. But I mean, just like when there's a will, there's a way. Like just go out there and get it. Like seriously, you just got it. If you want
So,
it, take it. Like
dude, that's
seriously.
so cool. Yeah. No, that's so awesome. And what I always think about is like there's people that I've spoken to and they say to me like, "Well, I don't want to have to drive that far to do a consultation." And I'm looking at the map with them and I'm like, "It's 35 minutes away." And they're like, "It's just too far." And I'm like, there are people out there, if that's the way that you think about business and life, like there are people out there that are willing to drive 3 hours to go do a consultation, and that's who you're competing against. You're not just competing against other people who think the way you do. You're on a completely different wavelength than the average person. You're like, I'll drive 3 hours because I know there's a high likelihood that I'll close them and I'll get the sale. And so I just think that like it's helpful for me to hear this and for other people to hear this because it can change perceptions. A lot of people's perceptions is they think like everything should be within 20 minutes of me, everything should be within 35 minutes of me, 40 minutes of me, or even an hour. And it's like even if it's 2 hours away, if there's a high likelihood that you can go make a sale for $4,000, why not go do
Mhm.
it? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the way I've always viewed business. It's like it's not always going to be in your exact zip code that you live in.
Yeah, I'll say like 75% of my consultations I drive an hour and a half plus for. I've since capped my limit at like my maximum drive time is 2 hours. Like, and that's absolute like max.
Yeah.
Before in the beginning I was making some
Yeah.
exceptions
Yeah. Yeah.
because, this is my service area, but I wasn't in the service area, so I had to still drive down here. Being willing to drive, it's like you're gonna get back what
Yes.
you're willing to put in. And if you're not willing to put everything
Hmm.
into it, you can't expect it to return that to you if you're doing bare minimums. You know what I mean? Or you say, "Oh, I only want to do this. I only want to do that." Okay, well, you're
Right.
only going to get this back. You know what I mean?
Damn, that is so true. Yeah, that is so well said. I mean, it's all about what do you truly want out of your business. And by the way,
Mhm.
we're not talking about like for forever you're going to be needing to do consultations 3, 4 hours away
No,
and 2 hours away and stuff like that. What I'm more so talking about here is like you need to do things in the beginning of your business to make it work by any means necessary.
mm,
And people who are picky, like you can be as picky as you want when you're making, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 grand a month. But if you're in that stage where you're like not getting clients and, you're not making 10K a month yet, or even 5K or 8K a month, and you're like being ultra picky about who you work with, I think this is just like a really good call to action to be like, it may be worth rethinking that and just by like getting the business off the ground to make more money so you can invest more money to get more clients locally. But
Yeah.
there's something also I want to go back to for a second. I had forgot this part of the conversation where you had previously worked with other agencies. And so do you mind just like sharing your experience on that of like, we don't need to name names or anything like that, of course, but
Well, it
more
was
so
no,
just like
I'm just
what
kidding.
it was like working with other people and like what you feel like the biggest difference. What was the biggest difference you found?
The general responsiveness, like, I feel like it was hard to get them on a call, even for the initial consultation call. Like, when I wanted to do a discovery call with you, you
Mhm.
were like, I think I added you as a friend and you messaged me. I don't remember how it happened, but it was so quick. And that really
Yeah.
stood out to me. You were very responsive. The initial call, it was you, it felt like you were trying to qualify me as a client. It felt like they were trying to disqualify me as a client. Like, oh, you don't make enough money, you don't have enough savings, you don't have
Okay.
enough this, you're not established enough. Well, I was in the same exact, I actually had a little bit more going on when I tried to work with the first company that was more pricey than I did when I started with y'all. And they pretty much were like,
Yeah.
it's not going to work for you. It's going to be a waste of your time and your money. And I believe their monthly fee was like $7,500 a month. Yeah. So it was pretty crazy. The second company,
Yeah, that's fascinating.
their monthly fee was only, and they're very similar to what you guys offer. It was all the same Google ads, very similar CRM, which, a lot of people use a similar system. But the second company that
Yes.
I went with,
Yeah.
he was like an independent Google ads person. I don't really know exactly all of what he did. I was only giving him like $800 a month, so it wasn't breaking the bank, but I was generating maybe 5 leads for the whole month. And I feel like those were coming in organically, not because of anything he was doing for me. So those were my two
Yeah,
experiences.
understood.
One was very
Yeah,
overpriced
yeah.
and the other was fairly priced, but really neither of them gave me the return that I was looking for. But with you guys, it was almost immediate. Like, seriously.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, you and I were joking around the other day when we were talking about and this and you were just kinda, saying to me like, because you've referred quite a few people over to us, which I'm so grateful for. I mean, everyone's been a great client who's come over. And yeah, I mean, again, just going back to what I was saying before, it's like I think a lot of times there's so much that goes into making marketing campaigns work, and I think the thing that really separates us as a company, and I'll speak for myself, is like we don't just view it as just marketing. We view it as like client acquisition holistically. It's like marketing is a big part of that, but that's why we work so much with you on your pricing and your programs and your sales process and stuff. Because
Hmm.
at the end of the day, it's like if all that stuff isn't dialed in as well, it's just not going to. The whole thing needs to work together. You know what I mean? But yeah, so it's just been really cool to watch you like grow this thing. So I'd love to hear about like, what you have planned for the future because you've kind of gotten out of that phase in your business to begin with where you just were like starting and like, hey, I need to make sales. And now you're kind of entering into this phase of like, you're charging for consultations yet. You're starting to qualify people a little bit more. So what do you have planned for the next like 6 months here?
Well, I just hired my first employee, so that's cool. I got a kennel tech now.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Definitely
Yeah,
needed a big
that's
help. It
awesome.
probably takes like 5 hours of my day, if not more, just doing walks and cleaning, getting fresh water bowls, prepping food, doing all the ins and outs. So being able to have somebody to help with that, plus like help me record content, all that good stuff. So I feel like social media is going to start doing a lot better because I have a person to help with content, can take some of the weight off me. I can potentially take more dogs in, which is going to mean more revenue. So I may convert my spare room into another kennel room. I can put runs in my yard and have outdoor runs.
Whoa,
I just got a bunch of space cleared out back there so I can get some outdoor runs. So I mean, I'm expanding, growing, expanding.
that's awesome.
It's just starting, and I didn't expect it to
The
do so much so fast. So
Yeah. Yeah. What were your expectations going into this in the beginning? Because I mean, you've done about $45,000 since working with us. Like, what were you thinking of at the time? Well, first off, let's talk about this. What was your revenue when you first started with us? Because I know that you had said to me, "Hey, I basically gave you the last money I had to my name to make this work," which I always love. I think that's awesome. It's like you're just like so die hard, like I will make this work one way or another.
yeah,
But
I bet the house on it.
what were you doing on an average monthly basis before we got started?
Average monthly maximum 35, 3600 max, absolute max, probably less. And I was working a full-time job.
Yeah.
So I quit that and I just went all in.
Yeah. And so now you're doing about like on average, like anywhere between like around like 20K a month, I would say. And so with that being said, let's talk about this. Like what is the advice that you would give to somebody who is in the same exact situation now that you were in a couple months ago when you first got started with us?
Bet on yourself. Take the doubt out of your heart. It's not going to get you nowhere. Everything in life takes hard work, whether you're going to go work for somebody or not do no work at all or work for yourself. It's all hard. There's hard aspects
Yeah.
to all of it. So if you're this is you guys are a great company. If you're considering it, don't hesitate, pull the trigger. You know what I mean? They're going to help you and be successful every step of the way. I would just like, don't, whatever hesitation you have in regard to yourself, if you have self-doubt, just do it. Like that, like
Yeah.
literally, that's my advice, to just do it. You know, it's going to be hard. It's going to be scary. There's going to be days that feel better than others. Like, just do it. Like, that's literally it sounds, I sorry to be cliche and not have a ton of good things to say, but like my advice to anyone who's wondering and they think they're ready for that next step or whatever, just do it.
All these cliches exist for a reason. You know, like I say cliches all the time. I mean, Angel loves to remind me of that. And actually, that's why she made an entire list that's compiled right there of all the cliches that I say. But it's funny because cliches exist for a reason. It's because they're true.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like there is no shortcut. There is no way other than the way directly through the shit and having to do the really hard things. People will try and pull you in a million different directions and market to you and say like, "Oh, it doesn't need to be that hard. Just do this. Just do this instead." And to me, it's like I try and be as like upfront and honest with our clients as possible, where it's like, "Hey, here's what's going to be required of you. You're going to need to put some money into ads. You're going to need to answer the calls when they come in. You're going to need to drive to people to do consultations. But here's the beautiful thing. If you do that stuff, it will result in a very successful business." And so, I mean, I feel like you're really a true testament to that, that like, if you just do the things that are required of you every single day, it will result in like a very, very fruitful outcome for you where you're doing 10, 15, 20K in a month. And you're even having some days where you're doing 10K in a single day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I couldn't ask for things to be any better. Like I'm fully booked through like mid-July. I'm capping it right now at 6 dogs. Every time one graduates, one starts that same day. It's like a rotation. And like I'm booking out like right now, my next available date to start, I think is like it's either the very end of June or like beginning of July. But like I mean, I couldn't ask things to be any better. I hired somebody on and but yeah, so it's been great so far. And it's been great chatting with you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, listen, we'll wrap things up here. We'll have to do another one of these in the future and we can like check in again and stuff like that and see exactly where you're at. But yeah, we'll wrap things up here. So I appreciate you guys tuning in and just giving us the time to listen to this episode and stuff like that. And we will see you guys all very soon in the next one. See you guys.
Thanks, Kevin.